tonight. This is our second webinar, and we had an amazing time sharing some great information, I believe 2 weeks ago. And so again, tonight we're diving into a topic that touches many aspects of our lives, and we're talking about letting go. Now, whether you're letting go of a relationship, a job, or a way of thinking, the process of release and reinvention can be quite challenging. But I want to let you know, even in its challenging moments, it can be incredibly transformative. So every challenge that we have is also an opportunity to transform our lives. I want to get started tonight by just giving you a personal perspective on this. And if you joined us for our last webinar, then my story continues to unfold. But just a little over a year and a half ago, I experienced a significant life change, and that life change was divorce, right? And that was a period and one of the most challenging times in my life, but it forced me to confront not only the end of a significant relationship, but also the end of a version of myself that I had grown accustomed to. And sometimes when life happens, when we go through major life experiences, we go through a process of grief. And sometimes we're not just grieving who we lost and what we lost, but we grieve who we used to be, right? We grieve the version of ourselves. And pardon me, there we go. We grieve parts of ourselves that we had become accustomed to. And so I have a very good perspective on this because I understand firsthand how you can possibly lose yourself within transition. Why? Because letting go is not easy. I want you to put that in the comment thread, right? Letting go is not easy. Whether you've lost a friendship, whether you had a death in your family, whether you, like myself, experienced divorce, letting go is not easy. And when I experienced that pain, it was a great and deep sense of loss, right? It was not just the loss of a relationship, but it was also a loss of dreams and plans that came with it. And I had to grapple with the feelings of uncertainty and the fear of the unknown. However, there's a silver lining here. However, in the midst of the pain, in the midst of the challenges, in the midst of the discomfort, I discovered an opportunity for reinvention. It always gets better, right? Life always gets better from the transitions and the challenges that we face. And if you get anything out of this webinar, I want you to understand that wherever you are, however challenging you may feel, or however challenging whatever you're going through may be, it is only for a moment. And it is an opportunity, right, it's not easy. It is an opportunity for reinvention. So what did I have to do? And I'm going to be done in just a few minutes. What did I have to do? I had to take a hard look at who I was and who I wanted to become. All right. I had to start asking myself some key questions. And I invite you, for those of you who have experienced some level of loss or grief or life change, you have to ask yourself, what are your values? What are your passions? And what do you want your future to look like? What are your values? What are your passions? And what do you want your future to look like? So here's a few steps that I took to begin my reinvention process. And I hope that this is helpful for you, for those of you who are taking notes. First thing I did was I had to go through a process of self-reflection. As I forestated, anytime you go through a major life shift, you are transforming, it changes you. Yeah, loss changes you, grief changes you, death changes you, the divorce changes you. All of these major life changes, they change you as a person because it causes your friendships to change, right? One of the things I had to deal with were friends that were mutual, now having to decide which side they were going to be on, although it was not a bad situation, right? Every divorce does not have to be World War III. You can get along, you can still be friends. It does not have to be a negative situation. But people sometimes find themselves having to choose. So the person that they knew prior to the life change may perhaps be different than the person that they are friends with now because the dynamics have changed. So you have to do some self-reflection. If you're going to reinvent yourself after a major life change, you have got to start with self-reflections. I spent time reflecting on the old Sharita. I spent time reflecting on my past experience and understanding my emotions as it relates to and as it pertains to what may not happen as a result of this loss. A lot of people cannot move forward because they're still mourning what did not happen in their last version of themselves. And that's why some people, when they lose their job, they sink into major depression because they never anticipated having to apply for another job when they had become accustomed and comfortable with where they were for the last 10 years. And letting go, as our theme tonight, is not easy. But I want you to understand you cannot get stuck. Exactly, Erica. Exactly. Thank you for including that, right? Because the dynamics shift, people sometimes feel like they have to choose. But as the person that is experiencing the loss, you have to reflect and say, hey, am I going to be mad at other people for being mad at my ex? Or being friends or continuing to be friends with my ex? No, you don't have time to be mad at other people if they choose to continue the friendship with the person that you're no longer with. Because you're doing that self-reflection, you understand that this may not be my context anymore, but as I'm reinventing myself, I can make new friends. I can make new associates. Yes, I'm going to have to see the pictures of the people that I once loved, but because I understand that it's not going to be easy reinventing myself, I can move forward with purpose, knowing that I can still be good, right? Journaling and meditation helped me along this process because if you're not careful, you will lose yourself in the process. You could sink into depression, right? You can be angry with other people, but the more you speak to yourself, what we say to ourselves is incredibly important. I want you to hear me. What we say to ourselves is incredibly important. So make sure that you are affirming yourself. Make sure that you're speaking your strengths over your weaknesses. Secondly, I had to do what I call setting new goals. The goals that I had in the previous version of myself had to be modified with this current version of myself. We have to be flexible during transformation. Again, You have to be flexible during your transformation. Yes, you may be 40. Yes, you may be 50. But if you lose your job, it is not the end of the world. Right? If you lose a significant relationship, yes, you may not be able to get married by 27, but you can set new goals. With a clearer sense of Sharita, with a clearer sense of self, I was able to set new goals for myself. I had been in education, special education, for 20 years. And after my significant life change, I decided, hey, who says that I have to continue in one career or one profession for the rest of my life? Who creates these goals for us? If you decide that you are not happy in a career, then you have, because of the transformation process, you have the flexibility to shift at any time. Now, as a balance to this conversation, you have to be clear that you can't just drop everything in one day. You have to have a plan. That's why I was able to leave my position as a special education program specialist and move into what I'm currently doing, because I had a plan that even if this doesn't work out, I'm going to be good. And you have to be intentional about the direction of your life and set clear goals for what you want to do and who you want to be with this new version of yourself. A lot of people are afraid to move forward because staying where we are is easier than putting the work into being who we would desire to be. Now, I have to warn you that I am a preacher. So if I start speaking in tongues or preaching and taking the text, then y'all just excuse me. Because a lot of times, if I may insert this caveat, a lot of times we say we have faith and we put our trust in God for our future. But when life happens, all of our faith sometimes get dropped off at the side of the road, and we pick up depression, and we pick up low self-esteem, and we pick up low confidence, and we pick up all of these things that the enemy tells us about ourselves that are lies, and we start believing a lie over the faith that we have professed for all of our lives. But I want to tell you tonight, for those of you who have intentionally joined this webinar, that God is giving you new goals. He's giving you new strategies. He's connecting you with new people. And that's the third thing that I had to be intentional about in this new transformative state. Correct, Maya. I had to start building support systems outside of the old system that I had. Right? I had to start building support systems with people who look like where I was going. Doesn't take anything away from anyone who was with me with the old version of myself. Right? 3 things I was taught by one of my dear sisters in the gospel, Dr. Fondria Lewis. She says to me, people are going to come into your life in 3 areas: for reasons, seasons, and for a lifetime. Every one of the people that are connected to you are there for a reason, for a season, and or a lifetime. And everyone that was with you in the first or second version of yourself may not be with you on this current version of transformation. And it's okay. And we're not mad at anybody. And we don't wish anybody any negativity, any pushback, because that is what we call witchcraft. You do not have the authority to speak doom and gloom over somebody's life just because you don't like them. We've got to learn to let it go. Please put that in the comment thread. Let it go. When you know you've let go is when you can look at the people that did you wrong and wish them well. When you can look at the people who broke your heart and wish them well. No, I don't wish you go and get into a car accident, God forbid. No, I don't wish that your next marriage or your next relationship falls. No, I want to see you prosper, because when I'm able to wish you well, it is an indication that my healing has begun. I'm talking good tonight. And yeah, I'm talking real good tonight. So build support systems that support the new version of you. And those people may not look like, act like, talk like the people that used to be in your old version of yourself. And we got to stop being so rigid in our boundaries, right? We got to stop being so rigid in how we receive other people. You don't know where your next blessing is going to come from. And so if you're only, while we're in this reinvention process, and I've just got a few more minutes, while you're in this transformative state, you have to be open to whomever the Lord sends in your life. Maybe you're not a Christian. It's all God, whoever the universe sends into your life. You got to be open and say, hey, perhaps this is a person that can help push me to my destiny. And no, they don't look like the first version of me, but I'm very secure that my steps are ordered by the Lord. Right. Exactly. I promise you, I'm going to read all of your comments. And if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the comment thread, and I'll get to them in just a few minutes. I'm going to close on this. One of the major obstacles in letting go is, listen to this, four-letter word. That word is fear. Fear of the unknown can be paralyzing. I'm going to say that again. Fear of not knowing what's next can literally paralyze you. But overcoming fear is important. It is key to moving forward. Let's face it. I was very secure when I had someone else to do life with. And sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, we will opt to stay in an insecure, secure place and not have to do the work, as opposed to living in a secure place solo and do the work. Now, you know, Maya, you are blessing me. Thank you for that seed. If I was preaching, I'd say thank you for the seed, but I'll say tonight, thank you for showing your appreciation. Right? Staying in situations, whether it be on the job, whether it be in a marriage, and let me put this caveat, I am not encouraging anyone to move outside of a relationship that you feel you can work out, that can be salvaged, okay? I want to be very clear. If a relationship can be salvaged with therapy, with life coaching, with skill building, such as communication, I encourage you to be led into making that decision. But if you know it's not going to work, sometimes fear keeps us in positions because we are afraid of the unknown. I had to make a decision that if moving forward causes my entire life to be disrupted, I'm willing to do that because there's a greater purpose ahead for me. So as I wrap this up, reinvention is about more than just finding new direction. It's about embracing the new version of yourself, right? I don't care how old you are, you can start over. I don't care where you are in the world. Perhaps you're in a city that does not have all of the opportunities that you want. Who's stopping you from relocating? Hey, I had to do it. Who's stopping you from making new plans, new decisions, new friends, new connections? There's nothing stopping you but you. And so tonight, I would encourage you all to consider a therapist or a life coach as someone like me. And we have several in our practice. We have several therapists in our practice because letting go can be difficult. And if you were like me, you needed the help of a therapist. You needed the help of someone outside of your context to say, hey, I'm going to help you on this journey. And so tonight, I am encouraging you to seek the help of someone who has been trained, someone like me, someone with experience, some with a personal uh, perspective on transformation. Consider allowing us to help you along your journey. All right. I would encourage you tonight. We did not charge for this webinar. All I want you to do is to visit my social media platforms, particularly Instagram at Coach C Cares. Coach C Cares. Go there, follow me, and I want you to leave a comment somewhere sharing how good this webinar was tonight, because somebody needs some support. If you or someone you know is seeking support through therapy or through life coaching services, I want you to take down this website, www.back2lifecounseling.com. You will see the full array of our therapy services and our life coaches. We even have one of our therapists online on our Instagram page. And let us create a plan that will help you along your journey. For our therapist services, listen, did you know that your insurance on your job covers your therapy sessions in degrees, right? You didn't know that, did you? So you've got all of this free access to therapy. I would encourage you to go to your HR department tomorrow, shoot your HR representative an email and say, hey, can you give me the details as to how I may obtain a therapist? And then I want you to go directly to Back to Life Coaching, Back to Life Counseling, pardon me, .com, and we will get you squared away. Thank you for joining me on tonight. Are there any questions or comments before we log off tonight? Any questions or comments before we log off tonight? Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for your words of encouragement. Listen, please look out for our next webinar and make sure you tell a friend, tell a neighbor, and join us then. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.